Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I really enjoyed that conversation with Jeff and Geneva talking about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Mississippi, and particularly this pitch that's going to be taking place in coastal Mississippi. And, it's great that we have venues like this for innovative entrepreneurs to have an outlet to really refine their craft, to get better at pitching, and to really tap into these angel investor networks that can really be the difference between life or death of their business or their innovative ideas. So it's great to bring attention to their great efforts. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears and move over to my friend Francisco Gonzalez from the Mississippi Aviation Heritage Museum, someone I really enjoy chatting about, and we're going to talk about a really important fundraiser that's coming up. Francisco, how you been?
I'm doing great, Ricky. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you too, my friend. Hey, listen, how are things going these days at the Mississippi Aviation Heritage Museum?
We're going fantastic. Thanks to the generosity of the community and the city and the various organizations who are helping us with grants. I couldn't be so proud. But what makes me most proud is the people that walked through that museum and said, "Here I am. Do you want me to paint that wall? Do you want me to do this?" Or they come in and give us a check. And that is what makes this museum so special. It's not a big chunk of money. It's just little by little, but it's because of those organizations and the city council and the mayor who help us make this museum a viable museum, not only a viable museum, but something that people from all over the country are coming to. Calculating that we have over 75% of the people are from out of town that come to the museum.
Wow, that's incredible. You've always been situated close to the Toy Train Museum, but now that they've moved into their incredibly large, now they're the largest toy train museum in the world. That's got to help you. I mean, there's a bit of a symbiotic relationship between the two organizations, isn't there?
As a matter of fact, we steer people to each other constantly.
Yeah.
And that's great. And the fact that, but what most people don't realize, Ricky, is that the building that we are in used to be the All Roads Furniture Store. But when I get on top of the roof of that building, I see the runways of the Gulfport International Airport. And airplanes come flying by at a very low altitude, right over by our sign, which I never knew that. I mean, and that's what we're doing, all these galas, trying to raise the money so we can open an observation deck on the top of the museum so you can see the airplanes. I mean, you can see the helmets of the pilots. It's incredible. I mean, last week we had 16 T-38s coming to land, one after the other. I videotaped it. It was incredible.
Yeah. Hey, so it kind of looks like a control tower, what you want to accomplish up there, doesn't it?
Correct. We're trying to build that and maybe have a lounge that you can order some, food. But you know what? You got to crawl before you walk. Right now, I am building 5 galleries upstairs for the Mississippi and Vietnam exhibit. And this is incredible because we have the history of the preparation of Mississippi for Vietnam, and then Vietnam proper. And then I have a POW, Mississippi POW pilots exhibit, and the music of Vietnam exhibit. I mean, so it is a lot. With the help with the heritage area, Gulf Coast Heritage Area, we were able to get a grant to build 3 dioramas of the Coast Guard Station in Biloxi, the Gulfport Airport in 1942, and Kisler in 1939 when it was a Biloxi Airport. This is how we're doing it. And I have people like the Church of Latter-day Saints came to help me build these exhibits.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled.
Hey, you know what's interesting? So if you think about the shoestring budget, the way you got started, all these volunteers, from all across coastal Mississippi, military involvement in the building and so on. What's interesting to watch the evolution of this incredible museum has been first of all, this love affair that people have with flight and these contributions, not just in money, but in items, historic items that are coming to you from all over the place. Did that part surprise you that there's so many people engaged in wanting to help further the cause of this museum?
It is interesting because I'm glad you asked that question, because when we were building the museum and we didn't have anything, we were pleading with people, give us something, give me an airplane, give me this, give me that. And I'm going like, oh, I got to have it. So I would carpe diem. I would just, you tell me I have this airplane in Tallahassee and I'll get on a truck and I'll go get it. Well, little did I know that now that we are established, more people are coming through with things. So we might have to say, no, unfortunately, we cannot handle it. But because we have another 30,000 square feet that we're opening up slowly, there's always room. And I have a vault where I keep things that people send me. And I'm starting to take the stuff for the Vietnam exhibit out and put them on the actual exhibit. So it's very, very rewarding what these people do. And it is history, and we have to tell the stories.
Yeah. So you got a celebrity roast coming up tomorrow, May 23rd at 6:30. It's going to be roasting my former...
Tomorrow.
Excuse me?
Thursday.
Yeah, this is playing Wednesday. Wednesday, so it's tomorrow. And this is a celebrity roast of my former boss, Roland Weeks, who is long known for his aviation, love of aviation. I mean, he was one of the best acrobatic pilots in the United States, but it's great to have him engaged, isn't it?
It's so fascinating. And Roland Weeks, come on. I mean, what Roland did since he was 31 years old, I think he was, when he started working at the Sun Herald and he published that newspaper beautifully. And at the Times, of course, now with the changes, life, it continues to grow. But I am so proud of the fact that this man, I got to meet this man who, like me, is an entrepreneur and I love flying and is not afraid to tackle whatever. That's the Roland Weeks I remember. And he is an icon of this community. He's the way he presents himself, the way the humbleness of that man, to me is beautiful. And as a pilot, my God, who can remember seeing Roland Weeks upside down? Let me tell you what, I'll never forget. We were doing the Cruising the Coast flyby, doing Cruising the Coast, and we had about 20 airplanes. And Roland is flying up front of me. And little did I know that Roland was going to put the airplane upside down and with the smoke coming out of the back. I thought that the engine had quit or blown up. I was so scared. But that's Roland Weeks. He did some incredible things, incredible flying by the seat of his pants pilot, which I think is the best way to fly an airplane, always. You're one with the airplane. And what we're doing on Thursday night is a community is coming in force to honor a man who deserves to be honored, but not honoring the normal way. We're going to honor him by not being so kind as we roast him. So we're going to have 8 people, a total of 9 people roasting him from both sides of the aisle. We're going to have people from the publishing side, the newspaper, people who knew them from 30 years ago, and people from the aviation side who has a lot of history of his adventures. It's going to be fun.
Well, listen, I have my Roland Weeks stories to tell. When I was just a young guy at the Sun Herald, I was working in circulation. That's where the papers are delivered, the department over that. Mm-hmm. And I got a call and said, we're going to bring some newspapers out to Chandelier. Roland had his boat out at Chandelier, mm-hmm. and there were some customers on the boat, and he wanted me to double bag, in other words, put some plastic bags over a number of newspapers, and then meet him up front, and we were going to run to the airport, and we were going to go deliver these newspapers by air. Well, when we got to the airport, he had the doors removed from his airplane and the back seats turned around so they were facing toward the back of the airplane. And I sat down and had the papers ready to go. And just before we took off, he reaches back and takes a hold of my seatbelt and just pulls it real quick just to make sure it's tight. I'm thinking, what is he doing? Well, when we got out offshore, he turned the airplane sideways for me to be able to throw the papers to the various small boats that were coming off the big boat. And I thought to myself, man, if I live through this journey, I'm never flying with them again. And you know what? It's interesting. I'm one of the few people that was close to Roland that never flew in his biplane because I really had no interest in it. But there's going to be a lot of stories to tell because he's I guess he's still in his mind as a big time risk taker. But when it came to flying, he just didn't fear much about it.
No, he was fearless. He's fearless. And the beautiful thing about Roland is a lot of people that have flown with Roland on his biplane, except for his Joe Peavy maybe, that loved to fly with him all the time. Most people had no idea that Roland was going to do a loop and a spin and scare them to death.
Hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll continue this conversation about this important fundraiser that's coming up for the Aviation Museum. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. I have my friend Francisco Gonzalez with us. He's with the Mississippi Aviation Heritage Museum. It's on Pass Road in Gulfport. Many of you, I'm sure, have passed it along the way. But it's turned out to be this terrific place. And as he was pointing out, when about 75% of the people who come there come from outside the area. And when they leave, they sign a little book and write a little line. And there's never a negative content. There's never any negative comments that are made. What I love about it is you are about exceeding people's expectations. They really don't know what to expect when they come in there. And they end up having a lot of fun when they get there and just learning a lot about history.
Yeah. Well, and it's not only the history. I take pride on the fact that we have a component at that museum that is strictly to teach and educate the youth about aviation. The Mississippi Aviation summer camps are fabulous experiences for children, the 6th grade through 12th grade, that come in and they learn about welding. They learn about how to do riveting on an airplane, how to put together a helicopter, what makes an airplane fly, why we're scared of flying an airplane, all these things. And then the component of the fact that we take them to the airport and show them the control tower. And we go to the terminal and look behind the ticket counters, how the baggage claim happens. And then we take them to the aircraft, which is where they repair the helicopter at Gulfport Field. I mean, the experiences that they have are rich, and the camaraderies that they build are incredible. You know, we have flight simulators that move left and right, up and down, and they learn to fly on those. We have drones. We are able to fly drones within the confinements of the museum. That's how big it is. And history, yes, every morning, there's a civic lesson, and there is history first before they go to the respective classrooms. They take an engine and put it apart, and then put it right back together. A 10-year-old kid can do this at the museum. That's the Aviation Summer Camp. We have 3 of them from June through July 28th. And they can register online at our msaviationmuseum.org. And it's fun.
Yeah. Well, listen, this roast of Roland tomorrow night as a fundraiser for the museum for people who, it's almost sold out. So if you're a friend of Roland's or want to be involved, I would really encourage you to contact the Aviation Museum and get your ticket before it is completely sold out. It's actually going to be at the museum. It starts at 6:30. And so, again, there's so much fodder there. It will be interesting to hear the stories. Unfortunately, I'm headed out of town, so I'll be missing that. But the stories are going to be incredible. Everyone has so many great experiences. Listen, I remember one year at the open house for Keesler, Roland was invited, and he flew his plane along with some of the aces from the Air Force, et cetera. And, you know, the way I heard it told to me is that he was so good that he actually outflew some of those guys and didn't get invited back or something like that because he was so good at what he did. But, yeah, I've seen some videos. I've seen videos where he was recovering from a maneuver, and the camera angle was such that you could see the treetops, and he would go below the treetops into this vacant field. You're thinking the smoke's going to come up any minute because there's no way he recovers from that. And of course, here he comes, coming back again. It's probably best that he's not flying in his later years because he was a big risk taker. But, when you think about the contribution Roland has made to Mississippi Gulf Coast, what he taught me about the community and the role the newspaper played in the community, and then you think about his aviation experience, it's going to be a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yes, and also we need to remember that Roland was, for what I heard, Roland was essential in the coming together of the O'Keeffe Museum. He was a big fundraiser for them. And I'm glad because, the O'Keeffe family has always been a very big supporter of the Mississippi Aviation Heritage Museum. And so that connection to me is very important because I know Roland played a big part of that happening.
Yeah, he was. See, as president of the newspaper, he was also chairman of what we call the Citizens Advisory Council for the Knight Foundation. So we had a local board for the Knight Foundation. When I became publisher, I was chair of that. So that's the reason we were able to direct a lot of Knight Foundation funds to coastal Mississippi. We built the Knight Center after Katrina. They made significant contributions in the O'Keeffe Museum. The list goes on and on. But he and Jerry O'Keeffe, I think they spent a lot of time flying back and forth to Miami to secure those funds, and he was super committed. And look what we've got today as a result of it. It's pretty cool that we have access to something like that. But that's what it takes. It takes leaders working in the trenches who believe in something, and you make it work, just like your work in building this aviation museum. You got to get in the trenches. You got to create networks of people. You got to be committed.
I am trying, and that's what I'm the least prepared. I am hoping that the more people come to the museum, the more they realize that this is not a little thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Listen, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend.
Likewise, my friend, and we'll talk soon. And I hope to see you at the museum, and I'll put you on the flight simulators. Yeah, good luck at the fundraiser. This has been Francisco Gonzalez from the Mississippi Aviation Heritage Museum in Gulfport on Pass Road. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.